Our next game comes from the team that brought you Super Brothers, Swords and Sorcery, and Super Time Force. But guess what? For some reason, this new game doesn't have the word super in the title. But let me tell you what, it really is super. Welcome to Creative Director from Cappy Games, Kris. It is so good to see you.
Thank you so much.
Super excited about Below. Thanks for bringing it by and talking to us about this game.
My pleasure.
So, you know, at the core of Below is explore, survive, and discover. Tell us what that really means.
Well, the game is, Below is an atmospheric dungeon crawler, and sort of the main ideas behind it are the sort of three pillars right there. The big kind of idea behind the game is that you arrive on this island and you really have no concept of what the narrative is or why you're there, or even how the game works. So you're really kind of on your own. And that's where the kind of exploration comes through. The survival aspect of the game sort of weaves its way into the gameplay as you sort of make your way through the depths and learn kind of about the flora and the fauna. That's pretty much it in a nutshell.
Yeah, the exploration seems amazing, and it seems like you guys have really gone out of your way to kind of, you know, drive up the sense of immersion, because there seems like there's a big emotional investment in going on this journey. You kind of don't know what you're seeing screen to screen,
yeah,
but it's taking a while to get there, intentionally, I'm sure. Talk a little bit about that, the journey of the character, and what you wanted to create in terms of the emotional investment.
Well, actually, every time you arrive on the island, you are playing a new character. So you're playing this little tiny wanderer that arrives on the island after the death of the previous character. So one of the kind of big ideas in the game, conceptually, is that you are sort of building on the progress of others. So the game takes a little bit from roguelike kind of sensibilities. It's very sort of unforgiving game sort of experience. You're basically one hit away from death, but the thing is that like every single character that manages to make its way through the depths builds on the progress of it. So part of the, I guess, design for the world is sort of create a space that draws people in and lets them sort of get lost in it, yeah.
How does that work with checkpoints and whatnot in terms of if you die and the next character comes along, how far behind their progress are you in order to eliminate frustration with having to redo things, or how does that work?
Well, what the game world is persistent, and sort of the main areas in the game have kind of like persistent items and things like that get batoned around, moved around from character to character. So part of the progress, part of the way it flows, there is no actual checkpointing system, but the game is constantly saving the little bits of progress that you make. So if one character sort of makes his way down to an area and, you know, kills a boss or solves a certain puzzle or something like that, that progress is something that the other character can build on. So you are sort of starting fresh every time, but you're able to sort of fast track and quick travel and do things like that based on progress of your other characters.
So some combat scenarios were depicted in the trailers that we've seen, but I personally haven't seen a whole lot of combat in terms of the actual game. We know that the character has a sword, a shield, and a weapon, I believe, on his back as well. What can you tell us about the combat scenarios that we'll face and how we could approach them?
Well, the combat is very sort of technical and skill-based. It's a game that you're going to sort of live and die based on your understanding of the combat system and your actual skill at the game. So initially, players are going to enter the game and just sort of get killed pretty easily. But over time, you do sort of figure out exactly what your character can do. You do play a very sort of fragile character with 1 hit point, but you're extremely capable. You have a whole bunch of different moves that you can do, rolls, dodges, and sword and shield sort of combat. And the idea for us is to create a game that isn't a hack and slash. We want to create a game that makes people sort of tippy-toe their way through the darkness, and knowing that you're 1 hit away from death sort of prevents players from running into the world and just getting killed. You right away learn a very quick lesson about the pace of the game, and it really becomes about your skill and knowledge that you have about the world.
And what is the pacing of the combat in terms of, we've seen a lot of footage, we've seen a lot of exploration, yeah, but are encounters optional? Can you sidestep them if you want? Or how does that work in terms of how much action there will be?
You can sidestep them to a point. there are certain things that you want to be looking for in combat. Part of the survival aspect of the game is related to hunting animals and things like that. So generally you are making your way through combat because you want to get to a certain area, but there are sort of little animals, little creatures that you have to keep an eye out for as well. That becomes kind of the source of all of your items. So it's a good idea to get into combat because it does sort of prepare you for your journey when going deeper.
And real quick, let's talk about the art style in the game. I mean, it's a beautiful game. You guys have done a really good job here, just signifying what it is you're trying to accomplish.
Thanks.
Did you start here or did you end up here?
Well, we started somewhere near here. We knew right away that it was going to be a game that had a very zoomed out perspective with a very, very tiny character. That's something that we had right at the beginning of the project. It took us quite a long time to sort of arrive at the art style that you see now. A lot of it had to do with managing how much information we're showing the player, and sort of keeping things as simple and clear as possible so that you don't have this desire to kind of come close to your screen when you're playing.
Right.
So a lot of the art direction sort of evolved out of us trying to make something that looked very, very clean, even though it was very, very zoomed out.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was an idea that we had right at the beginning of the project, and it's something that I'm very proud of right now.
You should be.
Yeah.
It looks great. And also the
Thanks a lot.
website is awesome. I love it. It just really brings you in as soon as you
Thanks.
scroll all the way down. So check out the website as well. The website is what?
It's whatliesbelow.com.
There you go.
Yeah.
Hey, Chris, we appreciate you stopping by.
Thank you so much.
The game is coming out on Xbox One and Steam. Does it have a release date yet?
Not yet, no, but we're going to be announcing some things soon-ish.
Some things, soonish.
Some things,
We'll be on the
soonish,
lookout
yeah.
for that.
Yep.
Thanks so much. Next.